Hello, Mgtows. Hello, man. It's good to be back on this channel. I want to say hello, give it a few times. It'll probably take a little while before everybody knows. So I just figured I would do a. Let me. It'll probably take a little while before. There's my sound check, and I do actually have a sound check. I have to make sure everything works okay on this channel now again, and I'm back. I fixed all my problems with YouTube, and no community strikes and no copyright strikes and none of those things. So I can now podcast again, and hopefully I can pick up a new co-host, and besides the old ones I've had, and we can get this channel going again and talk about Mgtow things. And hello, Chewy. Hello, Janet. Hello, Cicely. I'll pronounce your name right this time. And we'll go on and we'll do the Mgtow thing. So this is sort of a test. It's sort of a test broadcast to make sure everything's going right on this channel and everything. I did notice. Thank you, Chewy. I wanted to say thanks for letting me know. There's another sock puppet out there impersonating my channel, and I want to apologize to everybody out there that has to go through that thing where the sock puppet comes and says horrible things, and you got to know it's not me. I'm not that kind of guy. The way to check on that is simply I have 2,800 viewers. So if 2,800 viewers don't come up and you see one a Traversable Mgtow with no viewers or something, then I apologize for those people doing what they're doing. Somehow I feel I'm sort of negligent at that thing because, well, I go, poke at the bear once in a while, and I go poke at those people, and then they do things back, and but it disrupts everything, and that's why I have to stop poking at the bear and start doing more Mgtow stuff and Mgtow related things, and then we'll be okay and everything. But if you see there's two. Well, what happened is he just changed the Traversable Pragmatism sock puppet to the Traversable Mgtow. I make complaints to YouTube, but YouTube doesn't seem to care whether somebody's running around trying to ruin my reputation with a sock puppet. And YouTube, I'm not going to get no help from YouTube on that, and that's all I can do is just keep doing my Mgtow. It's been 3 months since I've been able to podcast on this station, and it's good to be back. It really is. I've lost a little patience with things, and it's been a long road, and I have to think about those things in my life and work through them, and working through things is what we Mgtows do. There's going to be a lot of people that don't like Mgtow and don't like us, and will do anything within their power to stifle us, to silence us, and that's a shame, because there's nothing really to stifle. If you leave us alone, we'll go on our merry ways, and we don't bother anybody, but we just want to be a community of men left alone. Hello, Badass Dan. Yeah, Bad Trav's back. What's Case Sup Afresh? Hello, Case Up Afresh. And so this is the inaugural Trav is Back podcast on this station. I really didn't have a subject picked out. So what I did, I was kind of going over the news today, and there's a real difference between the way blue pill married people think and helping hands, helping themselves. And we have a homeless problem in males in America, and things happened. And there was a story a while back about, you guys probably remember this. There was a story a while back about a young woman that got stranded in her car, and there was a homeless guy walking by, and he gave her his name was Bobbit, and he gave her her last $20 so she can get gas and be on her way. So they started a crowdfunding campaign for him, and they raised over $400,000 for this homeless man, so he can buy a house, and he can or buy a place to live, at least get him a place to live, and improve his lifestyle. And sometimes a good deed, goes a long way in this. Can you imagine a heart on somebody? He's a homeless guy. He has $20 in his pocket. He's sleeping out on the street, and he gives 20 bucks to a motorist that got stranded so she can find her way home. But what happened with that? And that's what I wanted to talk about today. The way the blue pill world looks at people, the way the blue pill world acts sometimes is very discouraging. And I'll screenshot what we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about there's infinity screen. I love that. I love that infinity screen. And what we're going to talk about is a judge ordered couple to give money from a GoFundMe campaign back to the homeless man for the GoFundMe campaign. This was the person right here that he helped. This guy right here with 20 bucks in his pocket gave this young lady his last 20 bucks to you know, get on her way. But a lawsuit had to be filed by Johnny Bobbitt. Johnny Bobbitt Jr. claims that the couple, Katie McClure and her boyfriend, Mark D'Americo, has spent much of the $400,000 they raised. Now, these are two blue pill people acting in a blue pill way. And these are helping hands. They were like, ooh, they're so altruistic. They were helping hands. Now they're helping themselves to the money. The judge approved a temporary restraining order required a temporary restraining order. I don't know why a temporary restraining order was given. They hand the money back to Bobbitt's lawyer and set up a trust for him. They say they had given Bobbitt $200,000. He claims he only got $75,000 out of the $400,000. Bobbitt came famous last year with the $20. He gave $20, and this poor homeless guy gave $20 to a stranded motorist without gas. Pretty much an altruistic act that men do. And we talk about this a lot, men's altruism. Sometimes our altruism is out of control. And it's one of the things we talk about in Mgtow. Get that altruism under control, because that's a fool's game. They wouldn't have raised $400,000 on this GoFundMe campaign. And in an interview with in Philadelphia, Bobbitt said the couple used the money for trips, gambling, shopping sprees, and he has no money, and he remains homeless. So they do what regular blue pill people do, and them helping hands, helping themselves. Often we get that around here too in Mgtow. Often we get the shows coming around, and they're all for helping hands. I'm helping Mgtows get out of poverty. I'm helping Mgtows. Somehow we're helping Mgtows, and we're helping men, and then but those altruistic acts never seem to prevail. And this is the story that caught my eye, because it's interesting to Mgtow. Mgtow has a real interest in, let me pull that back down and stop screen sharing that. I have to watch out now for what I do screen share and do that. Is the janitor back? Astroil asked me, is it no, SFM, we would have to get together someday and talk about our differences and everything, and do that. But you still get to come here and look at my pretty face, and that's the most interesting part of the Friday Night Fight Club. I know I make a joke about that. Hello, Bobby Williams. Hello, Mgtow Warrior. Hello, Badass Dan. Thanks for stopping by on this podcast. I hope everybody got a notice from YouTube that wanted a notice. And if you haven't hit the bell yet, please hit the bell and get your notices when I come on, and I'll start doing regular podcasts again and try to find a real co-host instead of a plastic boy. And he's a real boy. He's a real boy. And we'll get a real co-host here sooner or later sometime, if YouTube will let me continue to talk about subjects and talk about Mgtow and everything. Hello, Riff Magos. Yeah, this is my inaugural I'm back, and I want to go I'm back and say a word after that, but you know, I'm probably being watched real close by YouTube now, and I gotta do it somehow. I gotta figure out how to do this thing without it being qualified as hate speech. I never swear, I never do those things, but somehow we want a real boy, Trav. Yeah, we want no plastic boys. that's what's his name? This is Dave from Computing Forever, and he'll be yeah, Dave from Computing Forever will be joining me. That's funny. They're trying to gag you, Trev. Yeah, it took me all day for the last few days now. They get my rights back. See, I had no community strikes and I had no copyright strikes, and they still didn't want to give it back to me. So I had to write letters and send emails and do things like that. And yes, that is Dave from Computing Forever. Hey, Dave. uh, I don't dislike Dave, but he made some videos about Mgtow and the little redheaded boy that wants to be a man. But that's okay. That's okay. So we look at Mgtow and what has happened over the years in Mgtows, and we have a real interest in homeless people and homeless men, especially around here. We can get into some serious subjects around here, and what has happened every time we try to get something, well, it's usually a shill. We end up getting shilled, or we end up getting never getting it together. But that couple, they raised $400,000, and then immediately they stole the money from them. And it's sad, and it seems to always go that way. As long as I've been alive, anytime there's monies out there for homeless men and homeless shelters and anything for men, the money gets stolen. And I don't know if you can relate this to gynocentrism. And obviously, the young lady went on a spending spree with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's may or may not be as responsible for it, but she was the person that took the $20 and thought that was a rather altruistic act. But how can you do that to how can you do that to someone in life? I mean, you're a stranded motorist, and a homeless guy walks up to you and he gives you his last $20. Man, tears would start to come out of my eyes, and I would say, "Get in the car. I got a room for you here." That's what I would do. And I do have a few rooms for people that fall out of gainful employment and stuff like that. I keep for men and or on the verge of divorce, or they don't have nowhere to live, and I do that as a Mgtow, because I think all of us Mgtows should do that. Most of the time we have 2-room apartments or houses. We live alone in them, and I set up a room for a couple bunk beds and everything for men that just land here once in a while. But it's what it is out there. There are no funds for these men. And if you've ever been in one of those, we used to go down to a friend of mine when we worked with the homeless men. We used to go down to the big one in Cleveland, and I have a friend that works in that place, and then I talk to the men and everything. And those are just prisons for. They're pretty much prisons for homeless people, and that they get treated very badly, and that most of the time they get their stuff stolen. If they have anything left, they'll usually get it stolen, and there's a disproportionate amount of rape in those places, male on male rape, which is probably the worst kind of rape. And most men that are homeless, they don't want to go to those places, but that's where the money goes, to a big institutional program, more prison programs for men, I suppose. But in this case, there was a large amount of money, and it just disappeared again. Isn't that wow, man? Dave, what do you think about it? Is that the way it goes all the time for men? Dave says yes, and it seems like all the time, every time any help there is for men, we got these helping hands helping themselves, and it's sad. It gets really sad. It gets over my lifetime. I've seen program funding get pulled because it was a men's house. We had a men's house going down in the next town over, and it was very successful. We had 14 men in there, and we had funding for $500,000 for 5 years. So it was a close budget and everything, but we did our job and everything. But after they found out that there were men, and there were only men, and we were offering other programs like drug and alcohol rehabilitation and stuff like that, they pulled the funding. And it's like, no, no help for men, no help for the homeless men. Somehow it would seem that somehow it seemed like the whole society thinks that these men deserve that. There's some kind of punishment. Homelessness is punishment. Even when I talk to my buddy about this, he says, he was homeless for one night and he learned his lesson, and that the punishment was being homeless, and he learned his lesson. A lot of men will learn their lessons from that, but hello, Gravy Back Gill and Orange Partisan and Badass Dan, Savage Reality. Hello, Savage Reality. And a lot of men will learn their lessons like that. Spend one night out in your car and in the cold, and it'll make you start thinking about gainful employment and getting a room, at least a one man. But there is no one room. We talked about this a little while ago. Back in the 50s, they had boarding rooms for men. Back in the 40s, the 30s, they were flop houses, what they call them. You notice there's always this negative connotation with flop houses. And they did have these flop houses, but I've stayed in flop houses before in between the Army and I walk out, you're on that bus, and there's always a reasonably placed room. We have a bed somewhere where it's warm, and but the government went away. They actively tried to, and they really did. They actively got rid of all these flop houses. I know there used to be one in a town, Bedford, Ohio. That's a little distance from here. I know there was a couple there, and there was a couple in some other towns. And you always had a male flop house, and that's where the worker males would come to. The transient males that come through for work would just flop out, but the government's done such a great job on getting rid of those houses for men. They overregulated them, and right now with the politics that's going on, no one's even looking at the regulations for these housing for men. But there still is regulation. You have to go through your building inspector. It has to be regulated. And blah blah blah. The government wants to know everything you're taking in. Got blah blah blah. The government wants to know everything, or else they shut you down. And they've done a really good job shutting down. And those were tantamount to houses for the homeless, low-cost housing for the homeless. Most men will work for short periods of time, and then, most of the homeless will work. Some men, men go into the unpaid and little no plan or stretch. Prepare with little shame. Yeah. So I think that's something that Mgtow could really, really facilitate a nationwide Mgtow program for flop houses for men, and that's the way we do transient houses. And I think we can affect most of the men in at least in America and Canada and North America and South America. I don't know what they're going to do in South America and everything. I kind of try to focus on America itself, or America, USA. Yeah, politics. We're going to get into politics here. America. Trump seems to be having a lot of troubles daily now. Anybody else got Trump burnout yet? Trump story burnout. I'm just so sick of just opening up. I don't even want to see it anymore. I'm so sick of opening up my Google, and the first 5 stories are Trump. And I got Trump burnout. I don't want to know anymore. Just do them things out of my Google News. That's it. If I don't have to see another story the rest of my life, because a lot of it's just craziness. It's just a lot of craziness, and I just don't want to see it. I've got Trump burnout, and there's flop houses like that for men in Japan. Yeah, there are flop houses there. You just low price housing where men could, just rebound from whatever situation and be transient. And I think the flop houses take away the men's ability to be transient. Jobs here, a lot of jobs called for travel. But that travel gets quite expensive. I know when I worked years ago, I tell this story all the time. When I worked as an Army contractor, I'd go travel, and a lot of that portion of my money was being taken out for housing and boarding and food and that. And then I looked down after, almost it was a month and a half duty I pulled once. And I looked down and I got a check for like $180 after they took out everything. I was like, what? what? It's but then it explained it was for these things that I needed while I was out. But yeah, for a transient male, the ability to work. Some men work. I know I have a lot of buddies that work from motel room to motel room around in summer work, and often work that kind of work where they go where the work is. And construction work, you go where the work is. If Chicago needs construction workers, you go to Chicago. And flop houses would kind of take the bite out of having to have housing while you're doing that. Otherwise, it's a $700 bill at the Comfort Inn, and a lot of you guys know those Comfort Inns. They have the little what do they call that? Where you got a little dinette set, and it's $741, and that's what they that's what they get. You got to pay for a month, or you can go weekly, which is more. And that's not a flop house. Geez, that's an expensive hotel room. And but I think it's one of the things that the government intentionally got rid of, and now we have this huge homeless problem, and it's just cracked, man. These people are cracked. Shout out to Happy Free Bob. Where is Happy? Oh yeah, hey Happy Free Bob, how are you today? And yeah. So I went out. We went out. We got breakfast today. It's like a after sort of breakfast lunch sort of thing today, and did some scouting out on some stores and everything, and went to. So it has been a pretty good day for me. I got home. My son left a few minutes before this. He's going off to work, and I'm coming home for the day. And decided I seen, wow, look, I have the right to a podcast now, and that's great. I can start planning podcasts and doing podcasts and do my thing, which I very much enjoy. Do my Mgtow thing, and I hope I don't get taken down again for splaining scientific stuff and whatever I said. I don't really know what I said. I do know. Hello, Stone Cold Mgtow, just listening. Hey, Riff. Hey, Australia. Hello, Stone Cold. Seems like we picked up quite a few people over. I didn't think they were going to give me any kind of push today, but obviously they did, and I have to thank you two for letting me come back and podcast again and start up maybe the Friday Night Fight Club and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll talk about Mgtow things, and that's great. Anybody got a topic they want to talk about? Mgtow's been going along quite nice in the summer. It seems real groovy, and I don't know if there's a lot more problems or a lot less problems, or people are disinterested. There's summer Mgtows. We all want to just go out fishing. I just want to go out fishing. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do nothing. I just want to go out fishing. And we get that, but the fall exodus, or whatever you want to call it, will be coming in. The kids will be going back. The kids are back in school, and that was interesting. I thought that was so bad. Ohio was supposed to pass this law where they didn't go back until after Labor Day, and they never did that. And I thought that was beautiful for kids to go back after Labor Day. I remember when I was young, after Labor Day was when you went back to school. But they want to cut into the kids' vacation on the summer and extend the season from both ends. They actually don't. They got out at like June 20th or something this year, and back it's barely a month or so that they get their summer vacation now. And there's a reason for that. Is the teachers wants extra days, so they get days. They give the kids days off during the year where they can where the teachers are all alone in the school and they can do their curriculum. So that's like happy time. The kids get a shortened summer, so the teachers get happy time to do their curriculum. And I just thought that was so awful and horrible of the teachers to ask that out of the kids. You should want the kids to have Coquille with his can't say that full spread. Yeah, Coquille. So it's sad Coquille is no longer with us, irritating the YouTube Mgtow YouTube community, and we're sad for Coquille. He lost his girlfriend, and he failed at his life coaching, and I think it was more Coquille came around because he wanted to. He had a girlfriend, and he was all excited about that. Woo! I'm gonna go shove that in the face of these pathetic weasel Mgtows, and he thought that was going to have some kind of effect. It was Eli was the typical prototypical guy that got a girlfriend, and he's like brings him around and he's like, look, I got a girlfriend. And it's like, we don't care, dude. We're and personally, when you know how guys are on Friday night when they get off of work, they want to sit around the garage bar and tap the keg, and they want to get drunk, and they don't want girls around, and they want to play some poker or whatever, and they want to talk man talk. Eli's that guy that brings his girlfriend to that and goes, I got a girl, and we're going, get out of here. But he's gone, and that's sad. It's sad, and he took it really hard. That separation anxiety is, you could see the separation anxiety. We rarely talk about separation anxiety and the male, and I can't give the scientific terms for that anymore, because that's why they took me down last time. It's we'll say the cooties coming out of the male brain, and we can't use certain words or they'll take me down again. There's cooties involved, and then the separation anxiety from the cooties. We got to make it family friendly. Is Coach Eli dating Nadia Faith now? Oh, that's so sweet. Our children under threat by the new policies and actions initiated by school administration. I understand. I don't know which in school administering policies and action. I think they're always under threat by you decrease their time that they have vacation, and you extend the time, and it's a greedy extension of time for the teachers to have off days and days without children around so they can fiddle with their curriculum. And I think that damages kids. An amount of school year should be like 8 months, not 9 months, not 10.5 months. That provides too much stress for these kids, and they never get a chance to unwind. And maybe that's the new policy, to provide stress. We know growth comes through stress, and they want good little workers to be coming out of these schools. Good little workers. And but I don't think it's good when you do that. You take a little bit of their childhood, and in that childhood's summers are great. You guys remember what summers when you're a kid. You wanted to do that thing, and you wanted summer to last all year round, and you wanted to take advantage of it. You had a lot of growth in the summer. You did things with your friends, and there was growth, and there was personal growth. That kind of personal growth. I don't know if kids do that anymore. They pretty much play video games all day, and they don't go outside and play baseball and run around in the woods. I can't imagine that there are too many woods left. But summer for kids is a time for personal growth, experimentation with the girls, and learning about your environment, and learning about how men act, and how girls act, and without all the stress of academics or academia attached to it. So yeah, I do think they're harmful. I do think it's a little bit harmful to the kids by doing them, by decreasing the time of the time they have for vacation comparatively to the time they have in school, for greedy reasons such as we deserve a day off. The teachers get a lot of days off, and they get the summer off too. But it's one of my complaints I would have with the teachers union if I was doing that thing. And you did notice I finally got I don't have to moderate my comments, and there will be no moderation in there. So so I don't have to do that. While I took that off, that was driving me crazy. Where I was moderating the comments, and I would just sit there and moderate them all the time. I don't want to have to moderate anything in my life. I'm getting too old to moderate. I'm getting too intolerant. Isn't that funny? You get old, you get intolerant. You don't want to do it. I'm just not going to do that. I don't want to do a lot of things in life as I get old. I'm too old. I'm intolerant, and I just let it go. I'll let the conversations go where they want to go, and everything. So this is my inaugural comeback of Traversable Mgtow, the real Traversable Mgtow, not the fake one that Nadia has over there. And we're going to talk about Mgtow things, and sooner or later, I'm going to get a real co-host. A real co-host, not a plastic boy, and we'll do it that way. We'll try to build this thing back up and get people listening, and be more respectful to YouTube community about what I say. Is Trim Hitson? I didn't see Trim. No, I didn't see Trim in. Let me see. I'm just reading the comments now. Joe is a miserable man. AMD hates his life. I don't know about that. So it's closing up on summer. Summer went by really fast this year, especially for me. I didn't podcast much, and I said I would take a break, and I didn't have this channel open, so I couldn't do that, and that takes a lot of my time. But summer went by good. We went to a lot of festivals this year. We tried to make a festival, 1 or 2 festivals a week during the summer. And we went to every festival, from Hungarian festivals to Russian festivals to Polish festivals to National Institution festivals to, and this weekend will be Labor Day. And happy Labor Day to all you guys that labor in your life. The Workers' Day, I suppose we do have a Labor Day. We have a Labor Day coming up in America this Monday, and I don't know what you celebrate on labor, because really busting your back for the man is nothing to celebrate. But happy Labor Day, and that's it. Joe Buddy is a wonderful man. Joe Buddy is a wonderful man. He's not a Mgtow, but he sometimes ends up around Mgtow subjects. In doubting on Labor Day, 16 hours of triple. Oh, are you working on Labor Day? I used to love working on Labor Day. Did you try the no, I didn't try the turmeric. I did want to say I'm back on the aspartic acid and the aspartic D, but I'm trying to find a better. I got the D plus or A plus D this time, and there seems to be different results on that than before. So I'm coming up on probably about 3 weeks on it. My shoulders are hurting, and bad. It was like, man, I used this. I put 140 pounds on the stretch now, and I was doing 140 pounds with the D-aspartic acid. And sometimes you just go, and I ripped the shoulder out again. But all in all, I'm healing a little better on my 3rd week. So my testosterone's really high right now, and I didn't try the turmeric. I should try that and see what else. I was looking to add something besides that, or add some kind of oil or something. Black seed oil would probably be nice. So I'm looking for something that I could just add the aspartic D, the D-aspartic acid in, and do that. But in the next few months, I'll be working out hard and getting the testosterone up to peak levels, and that. Does Joe Buddy he hates me, and never said why. Did Joe Buddy say he hates you? Joe Buddy doesn't hate you. Yeah, maybe he does. I don't know. Some of these things happen. I was on Joe Buddy's show last week or the week before. He had me on for some strange reason. I don't know. I'm just all over the place now, and so that's my plan for the next few weeks. I got to do a month of D-aspartic acid on and a month of D-aspartic acid off, and we'll get to testosterone levels, and I want to try to get my 20-inch arms back. They were really lacking there for a while, and you know, it's good at my age to do these things and work out. Or I was riding my bike. I take 2 bike rides. Right off the bat, I noticed, man, I was just like, I was huffing it on my bike. And then it started getting, after about 2 weeks, my legs stopped hurting. It was, I moved the gears up, and pedaling's a lot easier. And it's nice when you can pedal long distances because you're feeling youthful, but it really helps. And we found out, me and Zeta did this. Me and Zeta did the D-aspartic acid, and what we were trying to figure out whether this stuff works, and it does work. With that, I introduced the green food, the super green food, and I use blueberries in mine, blueberry powder and super green food and D-aspartic acid, and that'll take one place of one dinner or probably a morning dinner. And I use the green food at night when I'm hungry to curb my appetite, and we'll see how that works. But I did notice sexually, testosterone sexually, there's not a really big up increase in sexual desire or anything, for me at least. I don't know if it works differently for other men, but my testosterone by now is probably off the charts, and no sexual increase. And that's where I find it hard to believe, where testosterone and it has something to do with sexual desire and everything. There has never been no scientific evidence that, and this will be my like third time around with the D-aspartic acid. And if you do it like I do it too. I took a Dark Knight was around back then, and he was a chemist, and I added lithium to my diet, and that's egg yolks. You can do it with egg yolks. There's a lot of that in egg yolks, and the intake the intake will go up like 300% on the D-aspartic acid, which is aminos, D-aminos, and cat nipples. They pointed to the floor. Now that's funny, Cicely. I never thought about that. It's probably. Oh, thanks for the comment there, Snake Oil. Where is my lighter? I can't find my lighter. So this is Friday Night Fight Club, I guess, my version of Friday Night Fight Club. And if anybody wants to come in, let me know. And matter of fact, it seems like it's a pretty good group of guys. So I'm going to lay the blah blah blah, the link, and if I can find it here, where is it at? Invite people. Yeah, I'm going to put the link in the chat, and if anybody wants to come in and talk. Otherwise, I'll end up closing this down in a little while because I can't talk all night myself. And I want to know if the links work in the chat too. So if somebody wants to come in, and there's the link, and we can talk, and there's the link to the Hangout. And if anybody wants to come in and chat, or you got a subject you want to talk about, or just let me know what you want to talk about, and I'll talk about anything. And we'll get this Friday Night Fight Club going. Friday Night Fight Club was supposed to be for dissenters of Mgtow that want to argue with us about whether Mgtow is a good idea, but that's cool. Hey, I haven't got no downvotes yet. I shouldn't say that because the downvote troll is going to be around pretty soon, and I got 16 upvotes, and I thank you guys for that. Hit that upvote because we know the downvote troll is going to be around. If he's not, let me see. It's England. What time is it in England? It's 5, 6, 7. It's 11. He might be asleep right now. His was over in England. That comes from my downvote. I get 8 downvotes. 8 or 9 or 10, sometimes 10 from England. Somebody in England hates me. How can you hate this face? I mean, I'm so pretty. I mean, I'm so. Hello, Sid Sperling. Just don't forget the teabaggers. I love the conversation. That's what I miss most about this channel right here is the conversation because I read the links as I go. And if I ever just start laughing, you guys are pretty hilarious some days. It's half past midnight there in England. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty late. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it would be 12:30 or 12:42, something like that in England. So the guy that does hate me, I don't know if he's around, and so hopefully he won't find my video till tomorrow. I'm going to have a new policy on these things. I don't want these things hanging around where someone can misconstrue what I say too. So I may take these things down after a week or so, and I just don't want a bunch of stuff cluttering up my my YouTube channel and everything. Oh, it's in 40 in England. Okay. So in England, they've already got their drinks on and had a whole day, a whole Friday night of doing man stuff already, and we're just starting up on I bought no beer today, and that was like, you know, I bought no beer again today, and but I've been trying to cut back on the beer and the bad beverages, sugars and stuff like that. I've been off of sugar and salt. My doctor recommended that I stay off of salt because I had to do water pills. I was holding water from some reason. I got sick over the spring and I just kept holding water from that. Finally, I convinced the doctor to give me some water pills, and then I shrunk about 40 pounds in 2 days, 3 days, which was, and my feet stopped hurting and all that stuff. And, but I had to, healthcare in America sucks so bad that I almost had to bribe someone for that. So Coquille is still, yeah, Coquille is no longer around. That's a shame. I thought I was going to turn him into a Mgtow, but he exited on unceremoniously and never gave me a chance to turn him into a Mgtow. I was like, man, that would have been my greatest victory in life if I could have turned Eli into a Mgtow. That would have been great. They'd build a statue to me, wouldn't they? That'd be like to build a statue in Cleveland. Here's Joe. He turned Cuck Eli into a Mgtow. You're partying with King Budweiser. Stone Cold Mgtow got a King Budweiser. Yeah, I wish I had a Budweiser. Cannabis lollipops here. Friday night cannabis lollipops. Yeah, I'm trying to cut back on all the bad things that are for me because I'm thinking about my Mgtow health, at least for the end of the summer, maybe into put a little muscle on, shed a little weight, and get my my heart a little more healthy, and then I can say at least I'm trying to my doctor, which she doesn't think I'm trying too hard. Hello, June Bruce. Prune Juice Power. Hello, Prune Juice. Seems like everybody's here, though. The same old crowd is here, and it was hard to get anybody to come over to that other channel I had over the Traversable Mgtow because I didn't get no push, and I didn't get any help from YouTube on that, and they pretty much censored that. So, what can I do about that? So Mgtow's been pretty interesting over the summer. We're getting a lot of large producers now chiming in. I was over on just watching, sorting through the Mgtow today videos, and there was another large producer, and I seen Must Know over there, and he's always having his argument with that guy, and it's like, no, we don't care what they think. That's the thing, is that a lot of larger producers coming around, and you Mgtows, you guys are wrong, but I like your idea. It's like, wow, how can you say that in the same breath? That's cognitive dissonance. That's the right side of the brain arguing with the other side of the brain, which must be a girl side of their brain. But that's it. Where is Whiskey? I think Whiskey works. He goes to work in the afternoon sometimes, and I think he works till like 11. Usually it was when I got to end these podcasts. podcasts, whiskey would show up right at the end and go, "Oh, I just got out of work." That was around 11 o'clock or something. So yeah, I don't think he'll be around till then. 7:40. I put the link in the chat if anybody wants to join me. Otherwise, I'm going to end Friday Night Fight Club pretty soon because I'm pretty much running out of things to talk about. But this is my inaugural, hey, Traversable Mgtow's back and irritating everybody in the manosphere. That's my job. It's my job. I'm the irritation specialist. Uh, you would think so from I was looking through all the I typed in Traversable Mgtow today. I never try to do this. So I typed in Traversable Mgtow to see all the hate mail I get for videos. And I got a lot of hate videos out there. I just got to tell you, there's a lot of hate videos out there. And I was just kind of amazed. I was like, it was pretty I don't know if I'm doing something right or I'm doing something wrong, and you can let me know. That either I'm doing something really right and these cucks are just hating on me, or I'm doing something really wrong and I got more hate videos out there. And then I noticed that somebody had picked up all my videos, and my videos don't even show up till after all the hate videos. And then you go through a long line of videos from antique cars, which pretty much stole all my stuff. And then so I get no credit for all my stuff that was stolen. And and then you may get to a one or two of my videos about 2 pages back if you type in Traversable Mgtow. And that's kind of screwed up that YouTube lets that happen. I can't even have my brand without it getting hijacked by hate. And yeah, and they say we hate. I mean, I don't think I've ever did a regular pooning video. I did Dean pooning video once because I just don't like Dean, and that's about it. I never really done any pooning videos, and maybe I should do more pooning videos and just poon people for their stupidity. Hello, Howard. How are you? Hey, Howard. I'm on my inaugural podcast back from being banned. My Mgtow exodus from being banned from. I know you know how that feels. And then so this is I just decided to come on and talk about Mgtow stuff. We were talking about homeless men and that couple and that couple that took all the $400,000 from for helping out the homeless guy, and then they spent it on vacations, and the girl spent it on like new clothes, and it never made it to the homeless guy. And that's what happens a lot with those things. And we really I mean, Mgtow's got to pick up the efforts to start some kind of program for homeless guys that the money actually gets to them. No, we've had that with Mgtow. We've had this in Mgtow before with Mgtow, where we thought we were donating to a homeless program, but not. We didn't, and this will keep going until somebody figures out how to do a 501c on their Mgtow. Sid Sperling, we are here for the benefit of ourselves and our fellow brothers. Yeah, we're here for the benefit of ourselves, mostly for ourselves. Mgtow is a selfish program, and we never say it's not a selfish program. We'll always just come right out. Hey, if I didn't spend a little time working on myself, I'd be a mess, you know. And I do equate that all to Mgtow, 100% Mgtow. I was a mess before Mgtow. I was a hot mess. I mean, Mgtow taught me how to think about myself first and put myself in front of it, because we are overly altruistic, like the guy, the homeless guy that gave his last $20 to that woman, which the whatever her name was, his name was Johnny Bobbitt Jr., and she was stranded. He was a homeless guy, gave his last $20 to her. And that's a very altruistic act. Can you imagine that? You're living outside, it's cold. It's miserable. It's somewhere you don't want to be. Your life seems like a total failure. There's a stranded motorist. You give your last 20 bucks. I mean, that's a saint. The Catholic Church should be down there going, we're going to sign that guy up for sainthood. And maybe the Catholic Church should consider doing something for him too, because that kind of altruism is, but that's kind of altruism is in all men. We all do things like that. We care too much, and we put on, we give too much sometimes, and then we end up in terrible shape, like at the end of divorce and stuff like that. We thought you're very altruistic while you're taking care of your family, and that special other partner you had that divorced you and took you for everything, and then you realize at that point all that altruism didn't pay off. All them lies didn't pay off, and it's time to start thinking about ourselves. So Mgtow is a very altruist. It's for yourself, and it's very selfish in some ways. But that in a way is to get men back on track. You can't help nobody unless you help yourself. And if you are an altruistic person, you want to go donate or go down to your local homeless shelter or food bank. I would suggest everybody does that. And, there's something in that that gives you a satisfaction. You can do it that way without having to donate pieces of your soul and then find yourself homeless. But that guy did. He hit last 20 bucks. I can't imagine that. If I had 20 bucks and I was on the street, what would you do? What would each one of you guys do if you had 20 bucks in your pocket? You're walking along the inner belt, and there's a stranded woman in a car. Would you walk by? As a Mgtow, I walk right by. I don't care. As a Mgtow, I walk right by now. I don't care. I keep that 20 bucks in my pocket because I ain't going to need a burger, and that 20 bucks can feed me for 4 days. 20 bucks can feed. What would you do? He pulled that 20 bucks out of his pocket and he gave it to that woman. And then in the end, what was this girl's name? I got to figure out what this girl's name was. It was just all over the news today. Blah, blah, blah. I used to have it out right in front of me. Now I have to bring it back up out of the Washington Post. Katie McClure and her boyfriend, Mark D. America. Her boyfriend, she included the boyfriend in the spending spree from Katie McClure was her name, and she included her boyfriend in a spending spree for some homeless guy's money. But that's the difference, and I don't know what that difference is sometimes between the way blue pill people think. It's not something that you can quantify in so many words. I mean, they took that money and they were going, woo, we're rich, and spending on clothes and vacations and trips and probably, I don't even know if the judge can order them to pay that back to that guy. But in my experience, when you get a court decision against somebody and I have plenty of court decisions against people, and being a contractor for years, you never get that money back. I mean, unless you and that'll kill you, tracking these people down, trying to get your money back. It would court order after court order, and eventually you hope to attach to their pay or something, but you rarely ever get that back. So whatever they spent is probably gone. And that guy's like, doesn't seem like, maybe now he has a lawyer to work in his behalf. And that's a good thing, because we talked the other day about, I was on Twitter, and they were having the Me Too argument and everything, and I decided to be real reserved about it. And I was talking to some doctor lady, and she was trying to pull the old systemic male hate and everything and all that stuff. It's all systemic from something. Males just are that way. And I was like, no, you got to think about what this was. And the final conversation was, a lot of this has to do with you know, your ability. And I'll agree that being raped is a terrible thing, and what you really have to do is use the law to the full extent of the law after that. But those same laws apply to men and women the same, and they should apply to men and women the same. We don't need a special program, gender bias program, but and to you know, institute those laws. But today, nowadays, what comes down is what I said. What you're feeling is the law doesn't work the same for poor people as it works for rich people. People can afford, and that's what this guy probably had to go through. And I'm sure that the lawyer's taken a certain John Bobbitt Jr. I'm sure his lawyer's taken a certain percentage of the money that he's going to get back from those two, or if there is any money left. But I'm sure that by the time this thing is through, he'll be happy he was able to afford a lawyer. But a lot of people can't afford a lawyer. When you're a homeless male, you can't afford a lawyer to speak on your interest about anything. So the argument thus becomes an argument of justice. How much should justice cost? Should justice cost anything? And for for the poor people, they don't get justice because, and that's what I could agree. Well, if somebody's been raped, a person, let's just say a person, a non-gender person, you know, if it's a person, what they should be working on is get the ability to get these people lawyers and figure out what happened and get them quite represented. The same as this Bobbitt guy, he needs representation. And that's what you need. That's what you should be working on, instead of accusing all men of being rapists, because that's gender dynamics. You get it. The gender dynamics has nothing to do with the actual question. The actual question is, you believe you're raped, you need representation so you can take it in front of a judge. So what's the problem there? Well, the problem is you could start fighting in battle of a more democratic battle of you know, how do we get people that of both genders, you know, both genders that are poor, representation. And I think that's a collective argument, and that's a good argument that plays out. But I don't see all this yelling and screaming about how men are horrible and how all men are rapists and everything. That's not true. And hello, Magnus. Trev got SFM on the line. Trev, I wish I could talk to SFM. I love SFM. He usually does Friday night podcasts. You know, I love him, but we'll let him do what he wants to do and everything. And I'm not going to pressure him to do anything. And I am looking for another co-host. I know I can be a little bit hard to deal with sometimes. Spurging, fat-faced boy. Who's fat-faced boy, Howard? I missed that part. Hey, David Taylor, can you help me with my essay? So that was my thoughts about that. There's kind of this crossover between this homeless guy and altruism and the overextension of altruism. And men have to watch out for that. And that's the thing that'll get you in trouble most of the time. The expectations of altruism, too. Now, that's what alimony is, isn't it? Oh, you're a pretty good guy. You will continue being a good guy. Yeah, even though your spouse is out doing some other dude, you'll continue being a good guy. The expectation of alimony. Alimony is just a slavery. Isn't it? It's just slavery. Alimony is just plain slavery, and it's barbaric in this nation. But I really wanted to talk to the girl from YouTube about hey, taking responsibility for your life and not spreading those legs. Don't have those children. Like I say, I can't have a child. There's my body physiology doesn't do it, but men are going to be the persons that have to pick up that bill. Either the genetic father of that, or or men in general. Like I said, all men are cucked. We all have to pay those taxes in so many ways, and they keep going up lately. Um, so, talk about responsibility, and that's not really your child. That's your child. I'll agree 100% with that. That's your child, and don't come calling and take responsibility for your child. I can't have one. There's no way I can squeeze one out. Biologically, I can't do that. And if I want one, I have to do a surrogacy program. Get one of those to do it for me. And but the better off talking about responsibility and accountability rather than these half floating ideas about how we're going to force men to capitulate, because that's not going to happen. I know that when anybody tried to get me to do something and I don't want to do it, I'm a stump. You're pushing on a stump. And I know all you guys are probably like that. Most men are like that. And once you decide that this isn't going to happen, and I don't care what it is in life, if you decide that this isn't going to happen, it's not going to happen. Armies could try to pick you up and move you, and you'll just be like, nope, not going to happen. I think that's why a lot of men are in jail today too. They're saying, no, that's not going to happen. There's injustice in here, and I'm just not going to do it. But I'm that way too. I'm quite unmovable when I get fixed on something. I get fixed on it, and it's like, nope, not going to happen. You can push all day. Just I'll just end up pushing back. Oberian Kanabi. No veteran should be homeless, but if you're just a number to the military, yeah, no veteran should be homeless after you've risked your life or went out there and fought for your country. I'm a veteran, and then you come back and you find, when I'm in my service, I'm back way back then, but you come back and you find out you're just another number to this thing, and we got to ask ourselves. I think it was the hijacking of the Veterans Administration too. We were going by the Health and Human Service building today, and somebody had a question for me about what's all these. What is this building? And I says, well, on the big ball, there's a big ball on one side, and that's the Veterans Administration Input Building, and right behind that you got the Ohio Works Program, and then over on the other side, the next side of that's Veterans Affairs. And he goes, what? He said, Veterans Affairs in it? I said, yeah, Veterans Affairs is in the Health and Human Service building. And in the middle section is for welfare and welfare recipients. And the other side is for child support. And I says, yeah, there's 3 sections in that building. He was confused about what was happening in that building. And we had an argument once before about that. Somebody said, Somebody was complaining about the Health and Human bill, but he was a disabled veteran, and I says, "You're a disabled veteran," and he was like, "Oh yeah, all that HHS stuff is just communism." He said, "Is communism, is socialism," and I said, "Well, you're a disabled veteran. That's in that building. That's more socialism." But the socialism is good when you're on the receiving end of it. Yeah, but I do think we should take care of our veterans, and that's a good idea for socialism. It's a good idea that we socially take care of our veterans, and there's no complaint. You never get any complaint, but lately they failed to take care of their veterans, and we got, I think, 30% of all homeless men, and it's unfoundedly overrepresented by homeless veterans. And that's where the crime comes in. That's where what have you guys been doing with the money? That's what I always ask. What have you guys been doing with the monies? I don't see these great homes for and I do think if they just wrote more grants instead of spending the money on Mercedes Benz and big cakes and shit, and wine bottles, big bottles of Moat, and if they spent that money on what we were talking about earlier, transitional housing or flap houses, just, somewhere men can go and flap. and you get a bed, you get a room about this size, yeah, and a small refrigerator and a heating pad for like $200 a month or something, and that's what you can do for veterans. Veterans don't want a whole lot. And then homeless veterans, they don't want a whole lot. They want someone to flop their head. They can take a nap, eat something when they want, and they don't want anybody telling them what to do. As soon as Veterans Affairs went down into the HHS building, now you got people telling you what to do and how to live your life. And veterans don't want that. Men don't want that in general. I don't want no one telling me how to live my life, how I'm going to do things. Somehow I have this automatic responsibility to be the laborer for the world. You know, no, I'm not that laborer. I'm not part of your disposable proletariat anymore. And they'll complain about the proletariat all the time, but yeah, they need the proletariat to work for them, but I'm not a part of that disposable proletariat anymore. I'll do what I want to do. And that's what Mgtow is saying. That's that real Mgtow shit there. Uh, just give those veterans a 200, small room with a heating pad and a refrigerator. I guarantee they'll be freaking happy. Instead of having 400 people working down here, all making $85,000 a year, and you got this $2.5 million building, which every county has, spending the money like it's going out of freaking style. And we wonder where the money goes. Yeah, that's what I talked about with Dershwin's social fact. The money goes from here, from altruistic people up to here, the government, and they kind of trickle it down to the veterans and the people that need it while they're spending the major portion. Their fat ass Sally Struthers sitting out in the desert eating all the food, and the Ethiopians aren't getting anything. That's a social fact. That's how that works. What Dershwin said about that was the middle party, the government, will become the subject of the altruism, and a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, they'll start using that for jobs programs. They'll start paying themselves. They'll start buying big bottles of moat, eating cake. They become the Burgess then, and that's where the Burgess are created through unregulated altruism that doesn't go straight to the, say, veterans over here that are homeless. They start chipping away on it. That's how that works. But to pay for their pedophilia, yeah, they could pay for that with in the government. That's probably what they do for that. They paying for, what is that, Pizzagate? But we're not allowed to say that, Capone. son of a I'm not allowed to swear either. I'll get taken down if I swear. I can't. I would just leave. I think I would just leave. Just go and start a new channel. If they took me down again, it's like 3 years in a row for all the whole summers they take me down. And Sid Spurry HD wants his super chat to resonate with you. Okay. And so who's all in here? There's Sicily still here. Wesley Pipes, Capone, Sicily, Stone Cold Mgtow, Isophy. That's hard to pronounce. Hey, Red Pill Jack, got my channel back today. After complaining all day yesterday, it came back, and Dr. Ami, hello everybody. Capone said, Sperling, hello Spid, message retracted. Why'd you retract that message? And hello everybody that's in. What was that last one? Oh, it's Chris. Hello, Chris Cantu. So I got the right to a podcast again now, and I was hoping that this would just last forever, and I can go about being a Traversable Mgtow and get a new co-host. Maybe I gotta get an English co-host. It's not right without an English co-host. I just gotta have an English co-host, and that's about it. And I've been talking a little over an hour now, and this was just supposed to be an announcement that I'm going to be doing podcasts over on this section again. But I got interested in that story about the homeless guy. I hope he's got a house now, and I hope he's doing better. And that's when altruism does pay off, and programs do pay off. People do care out there. All those people that gave that money, they do care, and they do care about homeless males. It's just that we have too many, helping hands helping ourselves. There's too many people in the bowl, grabbing at that money when it gets there. Someone's got to protect it. Someone's got to make sure it gets to the homeless men. Somebody got to make sure it gets to the veterans. Somebody's got to make sure it gets to where it needs to get. And we got to make a system where we get our government in smaller quantities now. And I'm not for certain things. I don't want government in my area. I don't want them built. I don't care if they pave my street. They don't really do it anyways. There's no reason for it. I'll pave my own street, and that's the way I feel about this thing. I don't need somebody coming around telling me to cut my grass. I know exactly when I need to cut my grass. That's twice a year. I know my grass is sometimes this high, but still, I don't want no one coming around telling me to do that. And that's why I believe in small government and a community size. And I don't even believe in a state government. Just keep your filthy hands out of my wallet, and build your highways and keep your filthy head out of my wallet. That's what I want for them. And but no use going all political about this thing today. I'm going to wrap this thing up pretty much today. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming around. And as usual, it's each and every one of you guys that make up Mgtow. And no matter what we got to say, no matter what we share here and do, we should all just try to accept everybody and get along and blah, blah, all that mushy garbage bullshit. And as much as I say it, as much as I say it, I know it's not going to happen. But each and every one of you guys are what makes up Mgtow. And if we can all keep that rolling, pretty soon there'll be Mgtows everywhere, and we won't need this anymore. We won't need to, speak out like this, and someday it may change for men, but until then, I'll still be around. All the guys will still be around. Red Bull Jack and Howard and Magnus and all the guys, Sicily and Gravyback Bill and Chris and Cisco Fire, and keep on doing what you're doing, because each one of you guys, these are, that's where we get our growth. And like I say, you reach out, touch 10 men, and he reaches out and touches 10 men and gives the message. And before you know it, that 10 becomes 100, and that 100 becomes 1,000. And it's a wave they can't stop, and they ain't never going to stop Mgtow. And that's what I wanted to say. They could take my channel down, but I'm not going to stop. Never. I'll never give up. And that's it for today, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming around and just being good guys all together. Oh, hey there, Rabbit. And that's the end of my first podcast. I'll probably be back maybe tomorrow, because I have to do a couple of podcasts in a row. And Sunday, I'll start doing the regular Sunday church over on this channel again. And hopefully we can get this to back together where we start talking about real Mgtow stuff. And that's it. That's all I got to say today. I'm going to go try to find myself a beverage. It's Friday night. I want to watch something on TV, have a beverage, and order a pizza. You know why? Because I can, and I'm a Mgtow. Ain't no one going to tell me what I can eat on a Friday night. I don't have those problems no more, because I'm a Mgtow. And each and every one of you guys, thanks a lot. And most of all, thanks for being Mgtow. Mgtow.